Welcome to Coffee Commerce. My name is Sean Ramit. I'm the grandson of a coffee farmer from Guyana, South America. On Coffee Commerce, we talk not just about trade and commerce, but also how coffee interacts with ideas, concepts, communities, relationships, and how coffee has had an impact on our world. We've been talking about the coffee houses, and we've talked about how the coffee house started in Yemen, moved on to Turkey, and now it's about to invade Europe. How does the coffee house come into Europe? How does coffee get introduced into Europe? There are many stories around this. Perhaps the most famous story is the story that coffee comes into Europe through war. There has been a number of attempts by the Ottoman Empire to lay siege of Vienna. These are some of the historical figures that we've talked about before. Suleiman the Magnificent tries to invade Vienna in 1529, makes it all the way to Hungary, makes it past Hungary to the walls of Vienna. Winter sets in and Suleiman must retreat, and he no longer tries to breach Vienna. The Ottoman Turks try again in 1683, and this is now the famous Siege of Vienna. They come in around August of 1683. They lay siege on Vienna with a great army. Vienna manages to hold off the army until September 1683. At that time, the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth came in to the rescue of Vienna. The Polish-Lithuanian army attack the Ottoman Empire, and the Ottomans retreat. There is victory for Vienna, and Vienna is no longer at siege. As a result, there are some stories that have come out of this. Some of these stories relate to coffee and things around coffee. So the first one is that as a result of this great victory, that the bakers make a crescent, which is the symbol of the Ottoman Empire, which in French is croissant. So they make a croissant, and that's what becomes a symbol of the victory of the siege of Vienna. Another story is that not only do they make this croissant, but to honor the Polish king, they also make pastry shaped in the horse's stirrups, which later becomes known as the bagel. The other story relates to what they found. So they found bags of black beans, it is said. They found large bags of black beans that were left behind from the Turks. From there, they take those beans and then they start to make coffee. Coffee gets introduced into the culture of Vienna. Another story along those lines is that they found this drink very bitter and too strong, so they added sugar and milk. And out of this comes the cappuccino. That's one story of how coffee is introduced to Vienna. The second story is not so glamorous, or maybe it's a combination of both. 2 years after the siege of Vienna, an Armenian gentleman by the name of Johannes Deodat opens up a coffee shop in Vienna. And from there, the coffee house spreads. Some have said they've put the stories together and that Johannes was an Armenian, yes, but he was also a spy. And he had learned about the making of the coffee from his time as a spy. And then so he takes those bags of black beans and knows how to make coffee, opens up the coffee houses, and they become very popular within Vienna. But regardless, around this time, coffee houses spread, and they spread quickly through Europe. So where they go from here is another story for another cup of coffee. Thank you.